Hello everyone, this is Dr. Glenda Rose with Great English Online. Let's talk about the present perfect tense. The present perfect tense is formed with the auxiliary verb have or has plus the past participle, sometimes called the third form of the verb. It is somehow related to the present tense, that's why it's called the present perfect. And there are three general uses: the indefinite past, repeated actions in the past, and a starting point in the past. Let's take a look at these three uses of the present perfect. Let's talk about the indefinite past first. Indefinite means it's not defined. That is to say, we do not say when the action took place. The action began and ended at some point in the past, but we do not say when. In this use of the present perfect, it is interchangeable with the simple past. Here is an example of the indefinite past. I have already read that book. Have read is the present perfect. I do not say when I read the book. Therefore, I can also use the simple past. I already read that book. There is no difference between I have already read that book and I already read that book. But remember the key point. We do not say when we use the indefinite past. I already read that book yesterday. If I use something to define the time, such as the word yesterday, then I have to use the simple past. It is incorrect to say, I've already read that book yesterday, because the time is defined. We can only use the present perfect if the time is not defined. Next, we have repeated actions in the past. You'll notice this use commonly with phrases such as many times. I have watched that TV show many times. Or often. I have often gone to that restaurant. Or even never. I have never eaten sushi. Use the simple past if the action cannot happen again in the future. Use the present perfect if the action may happen again in the future. In this case, with repeated actions, the simple past and the present perfect are not interchangeable. You must use the simple past if the action cannot happen again, and you must use the present perfect if the action may happen again. I have eaten in that restaurant many times, and I may eat there again in the future. In this case, I use the present perfect because it's possible that I may eat in that restaurant again. I ate at that restaurant many times. In this case, by using the simple past, I indicate that for some reason I cannot eat in that restaurant again. Maybe it closed, or maybe I moved away. But for some reason, the option of eating at that restaurant no longer exists. She has never swum in that river. Here we have a frequency of 0, never. So we use the present perfect, but we indicate that it is possible in the future she may end up swimming in that river. She never swam in that river. It is not possible that she will swim in the future. Perhaps she's moved away from the river, or perhaps she's passed away. But for some reason, she will not swim in that river in the future. Now let's talk about starting points in the past. If we have an action that began in the past and has duration until the present and probably into the future, we use the present perfect. We cannot express that an action is continuing from a starting point in the past with the simple past. We must use the present perfect. However, we can use the present perfect progressive to indicate that an action started in the past and continues until the present, especially if we want to emphasize the continuing nature of the action. So here are some examples of past starting points. He has taught English for 20 years. For 20 years gives me a duration. Because I'm giving the duration, something started in the past and continues until now and will probably continue into the future, I use the present perfect, he has taught. I can also use the present perfect progressive, he has been teaching English for 20 years. When I use the present perfect progressive, I put emphasis on the fact that the teaching is continuing until now and will probably continue into the future. He taught English for 20 years. If I use the simple past, I'm indicating that he is no longer teaching. Do you think you've got it? Then go take the quiz at www.greatenglishonline.com/free-lessons.html. Thank you, and we hope to see you soon at greatenglishonline.com.